It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I haven't seen you in person since I came to your
Right.
screening. How long ago? That was before the pandemic, obviously. When was that?
Well, the screening would have been in 2019, I guess. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God. It's been 4 years. That's crazy. And you look like you looked fantastic then. You always look
Now,
fantastic.
wait a minute. Before we start talking, you talked to me right before we went on and said that you needed to do a technical thing. Is that
Yeah,
been done?
it has not been done.
Okay, I'm going to do a little this while you go do it.
Okay, go do a little of that and I'm going to go
Okay.
do it.
All
Okay.
right. So, Vicky has a technical thing for sound that she has to do because she's not terribly technical. I'm just going to say it. She does really, really well. But you should see her before we go on this. She's futzing with this and the wires and the thing, and her nails are falling off, and it's mayhem. And so she said, "Can you talk for a second while I do this?" And I said, "Who do you think you're talking to? Are you on now?"
We're good. And
Okay.
also, I have a link for you. I have a live link, which I'm
Am
going
I
to
supposed
send
to
you.
do that?
Well, I'm going to send it to you.
Good
And at some
God.
point when I'm yapping at you, you can put it, I'm going to put it up there now.
I don't know.
And if you want to put it up there, because it's better than them trying to find it on my page. I just find that works
Okay.
better.
Well, you know,
So, but Sam,
yes,
what we didn't discuss before we went live, and because you're sitting in your kitchen, I'm going to assume this is not happening. We were going to discuss whether or not you felt like you were going to sing today or not, and we didn't talk
we did
about
not
it.
discuss that.
We didn't.
I'll sing. I'll sing something.
Oh, I'm so
Something.
okay.
Something
Okay. All right.
pretty.
You'll tell me when the spirit moves you, and
Okay.
and we'll do that. I'm very excited about that because there are people who they hear your name and they go right back to that star search and they get the goosebumps because they think about somewhere over the rainbow. And I would imagine that's such an iconic thing for you that wherever you go, people are still taking you back there.
Absolutely. Well, it's a really good song to get stuck with,
It's a
right?
really good song to get stuck with.
And so I've done it now for whatever it is, hundreds of years, and sung it thousands of times. And I'm really blessed. I'm really lucky that I got stuck with it because it's one of those songs too. As a performer, it can be for me, as the one who's singing it and saying it and telling the story of it. It has so many possibilities. It can be hopeful. It can be why can't I? It can be aspirational. Why not me? Or it can be why not me? It can be so many things depending on what you had for lunch that day and what's going on in your life. And
I
so,
don't know if I've ever asked you this, Sam.
huh?
What was it? All of those things that took you? How did you choose it? I mean, obviously, it was the most important moment of your life leading up to that. Did you know that you were going to say? Was that the ace in the hole? What was the deal?
I sang it midway through the season of Star Search, and then I sang it again when we had semifinals and
Okay,
finals.
I knew
And
you sung it at the
I
end.
did not think of it as, oh, this is special. It was just a song that I heard a great arrangement of that Patti LaBelle did, and then I kind of made it my own. But it was that 6/8 feeling was hers, and I just chose it as another song to sing because when I was choosing my songs for that show, I never did them in advance because I didn't want to give it
Akinahara.
a can of horror. And so, toy toy. I would choose like right before the next one. And so I just, went through songs that were in my repertoire or songs I wanted to sing. And I had never sung that. I'd never sung it in a show or a thing or a club, nothing. And so, but I wanted to do it. And I didn't know that it would become that for me. And
Had any men sang it up till that point?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't
I
know.
don't like you're the first I heard
Somebody must
sing.
have.
I don't know. I don't know. Did
Well,
you ever get to talk to Patti LaBelle about it?
oh yeah. Well,
Really?
the first time we met, I was If she was in concert, it was in New York City, and I loved her, and I'll never forget this. So I walked in. I want to, where was it? Was it the Beacon? I don't remember. Anyway, I walked in, to take my seat, and there was all this applause, and I'm like, "Who's here? Who's here?" And I realized it was for me, and her audience, certainly knew her that, and were fans of mine. And so I was so thrilled. And then I took my seat. I watched this amazing, she's a freak of nature. She's just extraordinary.
Wow.
And at the end of the show, she was acknowledging some, celebrities in the audience. And people started yelling out, Sam Harris, Sam Harris. And she went, Sam over the rainbow Harris. And oh, wait a minute. No, this wasn't in New York. It was here in LA. I remember now. So get on up here. And we sang it together.
I have goosebumps thinking about this.
And as high as I sing it, she sang it higher. And I was like, and I had to pull this out. But here's the thing. It was during that period, in the 80s when she had that iron thing. And she also, that particular night, had the solar system, some sort of a hat of some kind with suns and moons and things. Yeah. And she's, throwing off her shoes and grabbing me, and we're jumping up and down with the mic, and I'm getting hit in the eye by Mars and Venus. And it was surreal. And she was so lovely and
oh my God.
And, we saw each other many times. I shouldn't say many, half a dozen times through the years we had dinner together, or we did the same show together, like a benefit or something for television or whatever. And she's the real deal, man. She's the real deal. And I don't know how old she is, but I did see that she's playing somewhere around here. And I'm like, okay. Amazing.
Oh my
She's
God.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
By the way, that was my mother. Oh no, I've been doing a show on Wednesday for how many years? I don't know, 10. That was my mother just calling on Wednesday at 5:00 too. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought when you said that was my mother, that Patti LaBelle was your mother. I didn't know.
No. So was she was obviously flattered by the fact that she was not
she was flattered or she was gracious, but she actually she was very wonderful and kind and really just loving. And she wrote a book and sent me a copy, and just let's always keep singing. And it was something beautiful. And she's a wonderful spirit on the earth too. She brings great joy, and she's got a voice from God, from nature. I mean, she's really something, and you can't believe, when you hear her. I'm a big fan, and a fan of her as a human being.
That's a really lovely thing. That's a really, and whether she's gracious or she was good, it doesn't matter what the reason. She was good with you, and so that's all that matters. What was behind it doesn't matter. So all right, so let's go back to how you look, Sam, because we all know that's all that really matters. Oh my God, you look amazing. You're chiseled, you're gorgeous. You really look younger. You're sparkling. Tell us what the
I know, I am.
What have you done?
I have lost almost 35 pounds.
Oh my, and how long?
Very short, 6 months.
What have you done? What are you doing?
Oh, no, it wasn't Ozempic. No, it was not. It was, Vicki, I'll tell you, it was a lot of cocaine. And no, it wasn't that either. You know what? I was so determined.
Okay, what? Can you tell me, I know for me, what was the moment of truth? Because I assume you've been on many diets.
Oh my God, because I fluctuate so much.
Me too.
This last time of being fat, I was when we first met, I was rail thin.
Yeah.
And I was going into a pretty deep depression. And I was very skinny, too thin. And I don't, they say there you can never be too thin. and I still say, until someone's worried about me, I'm not really thin enough. But people were worried about me.
Okay, how did you do at that time? Was it just from being depressed, or?
No. I was very, I was at the gym every day. I was dieting. I was everything. And then it just went too far. But not from me. It wasn't, I was anorexic in college. So I know from disorders. But no, it was depression that hit me. And then I started taking antidepressants, which saved my life. But I gained 20 pounds in like 2 months. And then I gained another 10. And then I gained another 10 during COVID. So all of a sudden, I'm carrying like 40, 50 pounds. And it just kept going. And a lot of it was like, and I'm a parent, and you're always going, there's so little time for yourself. But it was definitely affecting my psyche. But I just couldn't really get it together. I would do it for a while. I'd lose 15. I would hire a trainer and I would lose 15 or 20. And it was just so hard to get off. And here, you want to see my moment? Hold on.
Were you gaining it all back? Would you lose it and gain it all back? Because that's been my thing.
Well, no,
lose it and gain it.
During this period, it's been 10 years.
Right.
I'm really thin. So this is and the longer it's on. Okay, you want to see my moment?
Yeah.
I was putting an audition on tape.
Oh, it's always film. It's always,
okay.
There's always the proof.
So I had to shave my little goatee.
Yeah.
But this was, I looked at the tape. This was the screenshot. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not even the same person.
And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And you know what? Some people carry it really well.
You carried it really well.
People,
you carried it really well.
No, I didn't.
No, that's just a bad picture. That's just
it's not.
bad.
And let me tell you, we all have friends who societally are heavy. But like I have this one friend, and she is so curvy and she is so gorgeous, and she shouldn't be any other way. I am not that person. And so when I would start seeing pictures of myself and paunchy, not to mention it slows you down, not to mention for me, well, here's this thing too. Not only as we get older, when we look at somebody and we're like, oh, they're older, and we realize we're the same age, that feeling?
Yeah.
Or that thing where we look at ourselves we catch ourselves in a reflection. Oh. And we're really surprised because that's not how we see ourselves, right? Yeah. It was like, oh, what? Who? No. And and now I can really honestly say, when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I'm good with that. I'm really good.
I haven't said that in a long time.
It's a good feeling, and then of course the more you do, the better you feel. But it's just a lot of hard work. And when I was younger, I could lose 10 pounds in a week.
Yes.
And, I remember when I used to only eat pie, and that was my diet. and it worked.
God.
But
hi, Danny. Danny's going through over there.
Hi, Danny. We're on the air.
Oh, hi, Danny.
This is Vicki. How are you, Vicki?
Hi, Danny. It's good to see you.
Anyway, yeah. So I walk about, I don't know, 8 or 10 miles a day.
No, wait, you said that. Okay. So how long does it take you? That's a lot. How long does it take you to walk 8 to 10 miles? That's a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what my schedule is.
Okay.
Right now, is we get up at 5 a.m. because I have to have Cooper at football practice during the summer at 6 a.m.
Oh my God.
So I take him to football practice, and I take the dogs with us. And then I live in Silver Lake, and there's a reservoir here. And then I take the dogs for a walk around the reservoir.
How many times around is that? That's a lot of miles.
It's about 2.8 miles or something. Yeah. And then I run them home because we're 5 minutes away. Then I go back and I do 2 more. Wow. And so that turns out to be like 9 miles, 10 miles.
And how long does that take you?
Well, then I pick him up at 9. And so
you're walking from 6 to 9, basically?
From 6:15 to 8:45. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's fine. I put on I always put on Only pretty much only piano music, just like
What's that
classical
about?
piano, because it's peaceful
Oh,
and it's lovely. And I'm not somebody who, if I was on a treadmill in a gym, I might put something that was like, "Ah, ah." But this is just, it starts my day. And also, I'm a meditator.
I
And
was
so
just going to ask you if you do walking meditation. I
I
do
don't do
walking
walking
meditation.
meditation. I mean, it's sort of walking meditation, but before I get up we get up at 5.
Mhm.
I do transcendental meditation. I do it
Oh,
when I get up before Cooper's upstairs, and that's how I start my day. And I just kind of continue that through it. I don't listen to tapes or anything. I just sort of like, I'm all over the place as we always are. When I was a little boy, like 10 years old,
uh-huh.
my father sat me down and put on a piece of classical music, and he said, "Tell me the story." And I learned that music is the underscoring for our lives, for everything. And so when I started telling the story that the music was telling me to tell,
You're talking about you would tell the story of a classical piece?
he would play it, and it would be an orchestration, and he would do this and do this. And I would say, I was 10. I would be like, and we're in a cemetery, and the skeletons are dancing, and the moon comes out. And I realized that I was making up this story, but at one point it sounded like the music was underscoring my story rather than me. Do you know what I'm saying? That
Wow.
makes sense. And
Uh-huh.
so when I listen to this piano music, it underscores my thoughts and my vision for that day and whatever. And if it gets a little like this, then it takes me something else, but I feel like I'm leading it. This sounds weird, but
It
anyway,
doesn't sound weird
I
because
have to get a
I
water.
used to speed walk and listen to whatever I was listening to, but I'd end up writing my next Tough Post piece or whatever and
Yes,
talking into the phone and getting ideas. And
it's
while I was
true.
listening, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have to get water. Hold on.
Go get water. So while he's getting water, I'm going to say hi to everybody. So Rachel Maddie Taylor is talking to you.
Oh, hello.
Hi. And Laura Thornton's here, and Tova, and Linda Phillips is saying hi to you, and Marge, and
I know some of these people.
you know some of these people. Tony, all these people are saying hi. So okay, so I bet if you meditate every single day, you do not falter.
No, I meditate every day.
Okay. If there was a day without meditation for some reason, would it change how your day went? Do you think?
I don't know if it
Or
would
that
change it
just doesn't
immediately.
happen?
I don't know if it would change it immediately. I mean, I say I meditate every day. There have been days that, I just haven't gotten to it.
Right. Do
But
you know, but do you notice a change on those days? Because there are days that I don't, and I notice a change. I can see a
I
difference in
can, yeah,
myself.
there's a change. I think if I didn't do it for more than a day or so, then I would feel a bigger change.
Mhm.
But it gives me patience.
Mhm.
It gives me a contemplative uh, zone. It makes me listen better.
Ah, I love
It makes
that.
me listen better. Uh, I just think it makes me better.
Yeah.
And I have a kid, and so patience is necessary because I have a 15-year-old
Okay,
who,
I was just going to say, how old is Cooper now, and how tall is he? I saw a
you're not going to
picture.
believe this. He's 6'1".
Oh my
He's
God.
15, turned 15 in April, and he's a skinny little beanpole. My boy was
Mhm.
always a little, husky, little chunky boy, beautiful, beautiful child, but had the metabolism of, a polar bear. And I mean, and I can relate to that. So, and then all of a sudden, he just sprouted and he gained 5 inches and lost 30 pounds in the same year.
What?
So while he was doing this, he was doing this.
Wow. That happened to my Harry, actually.
Really?
Yes, he's about almost he's 6'4" and
Wow.
he's fully grown now. He's 29, but he did that in high school, and he got thin.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And Cooper is super health nut right now.
Oh,
He's football. He eats a lot of high protein. He doesn't eat junk food. He doesn't crave it. He doesn't want it. He
this
doesn't,
never happened
these
to him.
kids that go through a bag of Doritos, he won't even touch one. Almost to the point where I'm
What?
like, have a bag of Doritos. because his whole life I was like, don't eat any more Dorito. And now I'm like, eat, baby, eat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Self-regulating like that. That's
Well, it's great
amazing.
because he understands a goal, and that's what he understands. And I think for kids in general, I'm sure you can attest to this, they don't see long term, they see short term,
So
right?
what's the goal right now?
The goal is for him to be healthy and feel good about his
No,
body.
what's his goal?
That's his goal.
Oh, that's his goal.
His goal is to be, and he wants to put on some muscle mass, but he works out, he does football, and then he works out in the garage with
Wow.
weights and things, and he eats high protein, and he's at an age where self-image is there, and he wants to be stronger, and he wants to, it's great. And it's great.
And so does football make you nervous?
It did before he played freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
because the obvious, because of injury and stuff.
Injuries, right?
And also there's more injuries in high school football than there are in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I was very nervous, and he had never played any team sports. He had done individual sports.
Like?
He loved skiing, tennis, golf, things like that, but never team. And he was so adamant about doing a team sport. And I know what that means, being in the theater and being part of a company, finding that tribe, how valuable that is. And frankly, his enthusiasm superseded my fear.
Oh.
And do I get nervous? Especially because he's a lineman. So he's like literally hitting people with his head. And this is something, by the way, if you had said, Sam Harris, you're going to have a child who likes hitting people in the head and doesn't like musical theater, I would say,
Like musical.
you doesn't like it. When he was a little child, he would be like in the bath when he was 3 years old, and I would sing something, and he'd be, stop! Don't you know who I am? Don't you know?
But now he's at the age. Well, I don't know if it's true with boys so much. I don't remember Harry doing it, but my daughter, it's the eye rolling stage. She's still at 25, eye rolling her ass off.
The eye rolling. Or this actually I think is new for the world right now. Your kids they're a little older. And okay. I'm like, you cannot say that to me unless I've asked you to wash the dishes or pick up the dog poop. Okay. Like he'll say like anything. It's okay to speak. Anyway, he's a great child. He is funny, dry, funny. That came from the nurture. He's dry, funny, and he's just a great kid, and he's loving. And we're at a place now where I can no longer kiss him when he gets out of the car to go to school.
Oh yeah, no.
He actually asked me not to come all the way in when no. I had to take something in to the school instead of dropping him off, and he was like, "Can you let me go ahead, please, and just follow me and like to give me."
I can't believe you're allowed to drop him off in front of school. I had to be a half a block away. So by high school. So that's.
He's a great kid. It's the best thing ever.
Oh, that's so. All right. So let's get back to that's wonderful, Sam. I'm so happy for you. Okay, so let's get back. And how about 15? He's really into his health and everything. So I'm assuming you're not having issues with substances with him, because 15 it can start.
No, I know it can. And Danny and I often talk about not being blind. A lot of parents are like, not my child.
Right.
And I think we're not. And we live in a world where it's certainly prevalent and available. And I don't think I'm being innocent. He's not there yet. And I expect him to be not abusive, but I expect him to, try some things, drinks, smoke pot, have a gummy, whatever. It's part of kind of learning who we are. And then there are those of us that don't do that very well. So, I to the degree that he was talking about Halloween, actually today, because he has a girlfriend, He'd kill me if he knew I was talking about this stuff. And he said, we're not going to go trick or treating with the kids. We're going to do something. We have an idea about costumes. And of course, this is months away.
Right.
He said, well, maybe somebody's going to have a party. And he said, I've told you before, I'm not interested in going to parties. I said, Cooper, everybody's interested. It's life. You go to parties. It's music. It's hanging out. It's laughing. He said, yeah, but Dad, the parties at my age, the next day they come in and they talk about how drunk they were or how high they were. And I said, well, you don't have to partake to have a good time. You can go to a party. And he goes, I'm not interested. So I don't know. He'll get there when he gets there.
My kids were slow to the party too. And they're actually normies. And we're going to talk about this too, because I know we are of like.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't get on the bandwagon that I was on. Right. That was just not their, has not been their thing. Very.
Well, when I was 15, I left home.
I know you did.
I mean, I came back for a few months, but I left home. So when I look at my 15-year-old child, who I'm having to explain how to make macaroni and cheese, and I'm thinking, I was living in another state with a job, certainly smoking, certainly drinking. By 16, I was in a relationship. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, yes, I was the anomaly. I was the anomaly because I had great discipline and great ambition and drive and responsibility. But still, I think, how did my parents let me do that?
Oh, and let's talk about that. You can't just touch on that. We talked about that many years ago, the first time you did the show, but let's talk about that. How do you leave home at 15? How did your parents let you leave home, and why did you leave home?
I left home because I was hired for a job that took me away, which I was taken to the audition by my father to Dallas we lived in, a little town outside of Tulsa. And I left. Why? Because I needed to, I personally, on a deeper level, I needed to be out of a constrictive place where I could not find my tribe. And I was gay and I was super talented. And I was all these things that needed to be away and find my tribe. Why they let me go? And we've never really discussed this, but I think it was more my father than my mother. And I think he realized that it's because they couldn't not. Because they couldn't not. Even though they probably were not able to articulate that I couldn't find my tribe and that I needed to, that they thought, he's got to do this. He's got to do this.
Did they know you were gay when you were 15?
No.
That's what I thought. So how did they know you couldn't find your tribe?
I shouldn't say, maybe that's words they wouldn't have used. Mm-hmm. How about, this is probably their perspective. He needs to be with more people like him, which is a tribe. He needs to be with more people who are talented and driven and, that's not here. And so he needs to be in a place where he can be nurtured by that and inspired by that and learn from that.
But wait, I thought your father was tough.
He was very,
and not really, I'm surprised to hear all this because I'm surprised to hear your father was the one that took you to the audition, because I thought your dad was.
He was very tough, but he also loved my talent. Mm-hmm. He wasn't always able to openly express it, not until he was much, much, much older. And there was a lot of judgment and a lot of fear. Mm-hmm. And he was very unpredictable emotionally, which would put us on eggshells all the time. But he believed in my talent and he was proud of my talent. He knew, I'll tell you what, he says that when he took me to that audition, because everybody in my little town, thought I was a star. But what's a star in a little town? And so he took me to this audition, and it was it was just for a theme park. It was for like Six Flags. This is before I went to Opryland. But it was, living away. It was a show you did 4 times a day or whatever. Anyway, they had auditions in Dallas in a big ballroom in a hotel. And, you know, everybody's there. I was by far the youngest, but it was hundreds of people, you know, with the dancers with their leg up on the wall and everybody singing and getting their music and doing whatever. And and sort of I mean, then at the front of the room was the table. We all know the table that has the producer, the director, the blah, 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 blah.
Right.
In front of the table. And this was all, you didn't go into a separate room. This was all in the same room. And the news was there covering the story of the audition, standing in the back of the hotel, or the ballroom. And so I'm looking around and I'm thinking, my arrangement as it is not going to work. And I'm 15. I need to capture their attention. I need to knock them. So it was my turn, number 342. And I go up and I give the pianist my music and I said, we're going to change this. Just give me the pedal tone and I'm going to start on this note. And so he gave me the thing and I went, da, 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 right? So everybody went, what? Because I smacked them. And all of a sudden it got very quiet. I was singing my guts out. The news crews flooded down to the front of the thing. And then when I finished, you know, there was applause and there was things that weren't happening for some of the other auditioners at all. And my father said that was the moment he knew that it wasn't just him. That he wasn't just my talented son, that it was bigger than that. And that was big for him. And he was a musician. He was a band director. He loved music. He introduced me to music. He's the one who took me to see, you know, Mel Torme at a rehearsal with the symphony in Tulsa. So I got to sit in on the rehearsal. He took me to see Count Basie and Ella Fitzgerald in a nightclub that I was 11 or 12, that I wasn't old enough to get into. And he convinced the maitre d' to let me in. He took me to see Sammy Davis Jr. when I was 10, Liza Minnelli when I was 10. He took me to see Jesus Christ Superstar when I was touring. He introduced me to great music and great artists. And that was all him. My mother loved the theater and would have been an actress had she not been of her time, of that generation. Mm-hmm. And so we had that, but musically my father led that, which was a little confusing because I had this effusively, shouldn't say effusive because he didn't talk about it, but this person who got it and knew I would get it and shared that with me, introduced me to it, was the same person that you didn't know what he was going to do. And it could be very angry and it could be very, very dark. So I had this and then this.
Was your father a drinker? Did he have us? No. No. And so how did that all start for you? And when did that start for you? Substances.
Well, I think it started certainly when I was a teenager. It wasn't crazy when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And again, this keeps coming up, I guess. I was so driven and focused that I wasn't going to do, like, I never went clubbing. I never went to
Never?
Never.
Not even with Liza?
I never went clubbing. Mm-hmm. I didn't have time for that. I didn't put myself in dangerous situations. Mm-hmm. You know, I came up during the time of AIDS.
Yeah.
And I was just not that wild and crazy person, or I'd probably be dead because I do things in extreme. And so, and then when I started to have a career and started to be known, I wouldn't do those things. I didn't go to those clubs and those things because I was
People
afraid.
Knew who you were.
They would, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't ever do that.
Well,
so my drinking just rolled into, just more and more. And it was never loud in public. I mean, it might've been at my house, but with a dinner guest, which I didn't keep my mouth shut about things. And I was so managing it. And I thought, well, if I can run 3 miles in the morning, then I must not have a problem. If I can go to work, if I can do 8 shows a week, then I must not have a problem.
Did you ever drink before you hit the stage? I'm assuming you didn't. You don't seem the type. Yeah, okay. Mhm.
All the things that said this person is an alcoholic,
Mhm.
those obvious things were not in my life. I gave the appearance of that. Meanwhile, what was happening to me was I got sadder and sadder and sadder. And what we do often as alcoholics is we isolate
Mhm.
because we can't talk to anybody after, you can't make plans, or I make them and cancel them because I'm not going to be in shape to do that. So it's easier to stay home and drink.
Mhm.
Um,
What stage of your life was this, Sam, when this was going on?
when it got smaller and smaller,
Yeah.
30s, late 30s,
Mhm.
early 40s.
So you'd already had a lot of success.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And it just got smaller and sadder. And I remember the New Year's Eve before I got sober, we were at a party, a New Year's Eve party, and we were going around the room saying what we wanted. And I said, to not be so sad.
Oh my.
And it's such a simple word, but it is there's such a weight to it, sadness. You know, when I had Danny and I were together, and it was just sadness. And I didn't want to do anything. And it was bad.
What do you think escalated? Because your career was rising. What do you think escalated your drinking?
Maybe it's because my career was rising.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Fear of success? I don't
Maybe,
know.
or
I'm
maybe
asking.
it was just um, maybe a little of the. Well, I had this line in Ham that was like it said right before I go on stage. This little voice comes into the back of my head that says, "Don't go out there, you charlatan. What if they find out? Who do you think you are?" And then I remember. And so it's this double thing of knowing, having a sense of ego and bravado, and or at least certainly knowing what I had. And then this other thing, which so many of us have, the imposter syndrome. What if they find out? I have no idea what I'm doing. And what it took also, this is very true. It's surprising that I didn't drink before I went on stage, because to get me on stage, Vicki, to this day, is pulling teeth. I have such stage fright. I am so terrified. I get nauseous. I doubt myself. I think to myself, now this isn't when I'm doing a long running show. When I'm doing 8 shows a week, I don't have that. Show up
Right.
for work, do my thing, warm up properly, take care of myself, do my job. When I'm doing concert work,
Mhm.
I literally think, why am I doing this to myself? I hate this. It's torturous. I hate it. It's painful. I am scared to death. And then when I start singing and I go out there, I have the greatest time of my life. Then I feel like I'm actually more myself than any other time.
Right.
But getting me there is brutal, which means also that on some level that I am afraid, because what if I'm not good? What if they don't like me? What if I screw it up? What if I can't sing? And then, of course, to change subjects, not on purpose, but because it relates. When we got COVID.
All right, let's go there. I mean, I have
Okay.
15 questions in between there and then, but
See
let's
this?
go there because we're
See
here.
this? See this? You see that? See that wet foam, that white foam?
Yes.
That's because I'm dehydrated.
Where's your water? Drink your
I'm
water.
gonna get 2 more.
Oh my, wait a minute. That's because of the COVID thing?
No.
Oh God, you scared me.
Because I'm so thin.
We haven't finished talking about that because you haven't told me what you're eating. You told me the exercise you're doing, but there's more than the exercise.
You want me to tell you that?
Yes.
Okay, years ago I did Jenny Craig.
I'm on Nutrisystem right now. I used to do Jenny
good.
too.
I did really well on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I got to that really great weight. And it's, it's prepackaged portions.
Right.
It's really crap. It's processed, nasty
Yes.
food.
Yeah.
But you salt anything and it's good. And so that's what I did. And while what I learned, and we all know all this stuff, is it's really about portion control.
Mhm.
And I was eating a great deal of food. I was while I cook, because I cook all the time, I ate entire meals while I was cooking,
Right.
trying and doing and tasting and that. And then I would eat the meal, and then 2 hours later I would I'd nosh on this, or I'd have leftovers from that. So I was eating and then not really eating in the day
Mhm.
because I was busy or not hungry. And then I ate starting at 6 o'clock,
Right.
nonstop.
Right.
And I'm getting older, and
Right.
so what I've done
Well,
is I kind of eat pretty much anything I want, but I eat very small portions.
what is a small portion? Is it like the size of like the fist kind of thing?
Like I made spaghetti and meatballs, something for my family, right? And the meatballs are, this big. I give my family a portion of all the meatballs and the sauce and the spaghetti and the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little dish that has like 5 strands of pasta and 1 little meatball.
Wow.
And I'm full.
Wow.
Now, wasn't full when I first started doing that. And this hasn't been all at once. I started just decreasing, having exercise, drinking a ton of water, and it's the same thing. I mean, blah, blah, blah. We all know. How do you lose weight? Burn more calories, eat less calories. It's that simple, and it's that hard.
And so do you eat sugar? You don't eat sugar? Do you eat?
Yeah, I have dark chocolate every single night.
Okay.
But like we had my friend Nita Whitaker, who's a genius, brilliant talent. She and her husband came over, and she's a Southern girl, and I made crab cakes, and I made, like Southern food. And she brought a sweet potato pie. Of course I'm going to have some sweet potato pie.
How
But
much did you have?
Like 3 bites.
Uh-huh.
5.
Bye.
He just
And
said 5.
Oh, 5.
I was like,
5 bites. I
5.
thought he said bye. And so you'll have 5 bites. And do you do the intermittent fasting thing? Do you only?
I do naturally. I don't have to try to do that. I've never eaten breakfast.
Oh,
It's terrible.
Is there something else?
Oh
I
my
can help with?
God.
My
Siri
friend-
is all of a sudden just talking to me for
Yeah,
reasons that
she
I
does
don't
that.
understand.
She interrupts.
Oh my God, she's just interrupting. Yeah.
I don't know what we were saying.
Well, I was saying, do you intermittent fast in
Oh.
the middle?
I've never liked breakfast. Do you know the actress Bridget Moynihan? She was a model forever. She's been in 4,000 movies. She's on Blue Bloods now for many years. She's like my sister, and she is just one of those. She's like one of the most beautiful women in the world, and I'm not exaggerating. She's like breathtakingly, like I used to just stare at her. Very tall and natural body. She's a natural athlete, but natural body. And it was never hard for her. You hate people like that, right? But she would say to me, fat people don't eat breakfast. You've got to eat breakfast. You've got to start fueling your body. You've got to, and she said, I eat here, I eat little here, I eat a little here, I eat little, and that's how she does it. I never
by the way, that's what Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem say. You have to eat breakfast. You have to.
Breakfast.
Yeah.
You know what I think part of it is when you've been drinking the night before, you're not hungry in the morning. You just want coffee and a cigarette.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you still don't eat breakfast?
Not really, and I should. I'm not giving very good advice. So you asked me intermittent fasting. I do. It's natural for me.
So all right. So you don't eat breakfast. When do you start your eating for the day? Like what would you have? When?
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
What might you have at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
I'm the bad example.
What would you have?
The only time I turn on the television is when I stop what I'm doing. I don't sit down. There are these little soup dumplings from Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah, I know them.
They're amazing. It's like the poor man's Din Tai Fung.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I will put them in the microwave, put on a little chili oil, some white vinegar, maybe a little soy, not too much. Eat them while I'm watching CNN.
Do you eat the 5 of them or however many?
There's
you're
6 in there.
There's
When I
6,
first
okay.
started doing this, I ate 6, then it was 5. Now I'm really full on 3. And then I
Wow.
don't really eat again until dinner. If I'm hungry,
Nothing? You don't have a piece of fruit? Nothing?
oh, I might have a piece of fruit. I might have an apple. I have fruit here. There's bananas and oranges. I might have a bite of chicken from the night before. I might have some cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese, which is like the most goyim thing there is. Um, I don't not eat. I just don't. I do. I
Eat a
not.
little. Eat a little.
I eat a little when I'm hungry. I don't eat a lot.
Hmm.
I'll have a protein bar
And so then dinner will be a little dish of
of
spaghetti.
whatever I make because I'm not making my family. Now, meanwhile, my son is now on super healthy, so he just wants like, chicken and steamed vegetables and brown rice, and so fine. Danny, on the other hand, is a meat and potatoes man, and from the Midwest, and they love their steak and they love their other stuff. But he's really, he looks great.
So now are you going to make different things for Cooper and for Danny, or is everybody going to eat the same thing?
I eat a little of whatever there is, so I don't count. And
You don't count, but are you going to make them different things now that Cooper's eating so healthy?
or I'll make the same thing with slightly different versions. Like I won't make a sauce for Cooper, or I won't, whatever. This is not entertaining, Vicki. People-
Yes, it is, because everybody on this show wants to lose weight. Ron Frederick just wrote, loving this. I'm telling you, because we're all in the same boat. We're all, how many of us?
Well,
do
and
this?
COVID screwed us up.
All right. So now with COVID,
But hold on, let's talk about COVID and food for a second.
let's talk about
We go to
COVID.
COVID in my voice.
Yes.
I mean, who didn't bake bread? People who had never baked bread. Yeast. I bought yeast on the black market. I paid so much money for yeast. A woman fought me over the last box of yeast at the store. She tried to claw me, and I'm like, take it already. And so, but then I bought some on the yeast black market, a lot, and then gave it to friends. And I baked and baked and made things and made for other people. And, it gave us something to do. I love being in the kitchen. I love cooking, and I loved eating. So
I was going to say, but also the eating. I mean, we weren't going anywhere. We weren't doing anything. So there was like this nonstop. So Toby
was
said,
comforting.
yes, please. I want to hear what you eat. So wait, if you have this little dinner, you're not going to have dessert. When do you have that chocolate that you have every day? And how much do you have?
I have a piece about this big, dark chocolate bark from Trader Joe's.
And you have that for dessert?
Like an hour or two after, we're having dinner and we're just sitting and watching,
Mhm. And
Jeopardy.
you have one
It-
little square. You have one little thing.
It's like you break it off. It's like a bark
Yeah.
thing. I could show
Yeah.
you. I keep it in the freezer. Oh, but this is something I've learned,
Yeah.
which I used to just eat it. Now I take a little bite and I literally let it melt on my tongue and I taste it and I'm in it and I enjoy it. It's not a big deal. I'm not like, chocolate, but it, but I savor it.
Yes.
I'm aware of it. I made
Yes.
crab cakes the other night and with a remoulade and these things, and I had it. I just didn't have two. I just didn't overdo it.
Are you ever hungry?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. And
I'm
you've just
hungry.
learned, like Steven Tyler says, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
I've heard
And
that before too.
right. So is that what it is for you, that if you get hungry, you just say, wait, no. I mean, what is it?
No, I mean, yes and no. And now I eat something, but I
Oh.
just don't eat, I just don't overdo. It's like I tell my son, everything in moderation. I mean, Jesus Christ, Vicki, if you could drink or whatever drugs you did in moderation, then it would have worked out just fine.
Yes, it would have, but it doesn't work that way for
It
me.
doesn't work that for you. And
No.
it doesn't work that way for a lot of people who have addiction issues, or even people who are just addicted to food. It's very hard. No one can eat just one. That's literally the advertising for Lay's potato chips.
Yes,
No
it
one
is.
can eat just one. Well, no shit.
So,
Right?
all right. So that's a great, there you go right there. Potato chips. My downfall. Salty, fatty things. Oh my God, more than sweets.
Mhm.
Do you not touch them at all? What happened? Because that
I
is
don't.
impossible to control.
I put them on a plate or in a bowl. I do not eat them out of the bag because
And
then
you can let yourself have like a little bit of them.
absolutely, if I'm making a sandwich or what, when we go out to eat,
Mhm.
I eat half portions. Todd Schroeder, my brilliant music director, you know him,
Yes.
he always said this, and I loved it. When the dish comes to your table, unless you're eating in some little pissy place where they're like giving you some foam, when it comes, cut it in half and you say, "Can you please pack this to go?" Before you start eating.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. I've heard of people who do that. I've never done it. I've thought about it. It sounds like a really good idea. I like the idea of that. So, when you go to a restaurant, okay, here you go. You go to a restaurant, you get a normal size portion. What do you do? Do you push it aside before you start? What do you do?
I don't do that before I start.
Mhm.
I think when we all begin a program like this, when we want to lose a substantial amount of weight, it's really, really hard. And so you have to make rules like that. Take it away. I'm done. Take it away. And this weird thing in my head about waste, about wasting food.
Yeah.
Well, I want to eat it because I don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? What's the difference between me eating and throwing in the garbage? It's like it's still going somewhere.
It's still going somewhere it shouldn't.
It's going somewhere it shouldn't, unless someone else is going to eat it. So when I first started this, yeah, it was push it away, I'll take half, or I just ordered differently. But now, and this is the great thing, and we all know this, when we start anything, a workout program, any kind of discipline, the more we do it, the better it gets, we see some progress, the better we feel about ourselves, the more we want to do it, and then it starts to happen naturally.
Do you not feel deprived?
No.
I love that.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy because for the first time in 10 years, we were talking about not fitting in pants. Well, I've been overweight for myself for such a long time that I didn't have any small clothes. I threw them out a long time ago. The ones you keep. I'm going to fit in it again.
Yeah.
I didn't, maybe a few things. I didn't save them. So now I'm like,
nothing fits because they're too big.
Fits for the right, not for the right, you know what I'm saying? And also,
Yes.
it's the tricky subject now, isn't it? Because you're saying everybody here wants to lose weight, but we are also living in a time where there is acceptance and people are being told and taught and embracing the kind of judgment. I have friends, I'm 62 years old. My contemporaries, my women contemporaries, one in particular, who's she's like my sister. And she's like, I have to accept at this time of my life, with menopause, with age, with metabolism changes, with just body types changing, I don't need to be that anymore. Yes, I'd like to lose a few pounds and I'd like to be healthy, but I don't need to go through what I would have to get to weigh what I did 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even people who are in great shape, if I weighed what I weighed when I was 25 years old, I would be 30 pounds thinner than I am now. That would not look good.
I look at pictures of myself. I got a Facebook memory from 2 years ago and I almost started to cry. Are you okay?
Hold on, I'm literally joking.
Don't choke. 2 years ago, I thought I was as fat as a house. What I would kill to look like I did 2 years ago. 2 years ago. But it's been that roller coaster. But I've only been this way like twice in my life where I've been this miserable. But I never was satisfied. I mean, I look at pictures all through my life going, oh my God, I looked fantastic. I was bitching up a storm. Bitching up a storm.
And then
I was working
people
out.
who really
I was
did have a problem or hated people. Like I went to, when I did have an eating disorder, and when I was very, very thin, and this was in college, and I went to an Overeaters Anonymous.
How do you get over an eating disorder?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Our whole program today is about food.
but that's what people want to talk about because we've all been through COVID and we're all going through this weird shit.
So I went to an Overeaters Anonymous meeting, and I sat down, and I was still an overeater. I was binging and throwing up.
Mm-hmm.
I sat down at the Overeaters, And this woman literally came up to me. She said, you don't belong here. You need to leave here.
What?
The vomiters meeting is upstairs.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wow, first of all, you just kicked me out of a 12-step program where we are the ones who decide if we qualify for that program, not somebody else. And she literally kicked me out and told me I didn't fit in.
Oh my Lord. That sounds like an Al-Anon meeting. Anyway.
Right? Anyway, listen, I was saying that we are in a culture now, and I think it's wonderful, where people are accepting more about themselves. When I say I weighed 30 pounds less, I didn't look too skinny then. I mean, I'm talking about eating disorder time.
Right,
That
right.
that was 70 pounds less, 60 pounds, right?
What?
So, oh God, yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
I'm talking about just like what a young person weighs. I was thin and I was in shape, but I didn't weigh. It wouldn't look good on a man my age's body right now.
Correct.
It's not the same. So my
Right.
friend who was saying I have to accept certain aspects of this, like, God bless you, because why are you torturing yourself or deciding you're supposed to be something else, and that health is her issue? And she's saying, you know what? Her job is on her feet all the time, and she's like, I want my knees to work. I want to be able to run up and down the stairs and run across the set and be able to do the thing, and so she's doing it for the right reasons. And she goes, you know what? Yeah, I want to look good and feel good about how I look, but I don't need to decide I'm supposed to be something that I'm not really going to attain again because I'm an X amount of old woman and I've had menopause and life changes and I don't need to be that. Mazel tov. Right?
You know, but I hear people say that.
But do they mean it?
No. That was the next thing I was going to say, because when they're alone in their room and they're looking in the mirror and they're naked, they're going, fuck, you know, because I think it's great.
What about the Lizzos, Vicki? What about the Lizzos?
You know, I love Lizzo, and I have so much respect for her. The first time I saw Lizzo was when she did the Tiny Desk. And I saw it at Phil Rosenthal's. It was way before she was famous. It was like the first thing she did. And she was this enormous girl being sexy as all get out.
Right.
And I thought, this woman is it. This is, so yes, I think there are people that are in acceptance of themselves. I think there are.
Then, which raises the question, if someone is unhealthily too thin, too not, then where does that go? Because we do live in a society that is about how you look and how other people think you look and wanting other people to think you look good. And yet, it is ultimately like if someone is a great deal amount over what they should weigh to be a healthy person, that is, you want to be healthy too. I want Lizzo to live for a long time, and I don't want her to have a heart attack.
I do too, and it goes the other way as well. I know we all know thin people who are so thin and so into deprivation, and they're unhappy. You can see it on their face. They never let themselves eat anything, and there's such deprivation.
Totally.
There's no joy.
Self-hate. And especially, and it is women primarily. And
although I do know some men, but yes, it is primarily
but there's women who are so rail thin, and then they all have the same hairstyle, and they all wear the same clothes, and they want to look exactly like each other because that's their idea of beauty. And it's not good. It is a very scary psychological thing to feel that way. It's scary.
So Sam, how long have you been, I would assume you're like on maintenance now. How long have you been at this?
I just got here. I just got to my goal weight. Actually, I have 2 more pounds and then I'll be
How long have you been in this area?
Oh.
Within 5 pounds?
Only a few weeks, few weeks.
I mean, because that's the other thing is I'm on Nutrisystem, and back in the day when I was on Nutrisystem in the 80s or on Jenny Craig, I'd go on that thing. I'd lose the weight in 2 weeks. It's gone. Now, oh my God, to lose 3 ounces. Oh
Well, it's like
God.
when we start a program, you always lose this chunk in the first week or two because your body's going, "What? What are you doing to me?" And then it comes off. So when I first started this, I was losing a lot quickly. Not as quickly as the old days, but quickly. And now it's like, a pound here, a pound there. But that's fine. And I do believe, that I will maintain this because I really like feeling like this. And I haven't felt like this in a decade.
Mhm.
And that's going to be enough, And
Mhm.
also, can I tell you what really pissed me off? So, like, I don't know, 3 pounds ago, 4 pounds ago. So I was still really had to achieve this. And I went to a football meeting for the kids. First one, because we're going back to the new season. And I can't wait to see all my football friends, parents. And I just, I was waiting for applause.
Right. And they're going to see me.
I have one person said something, and it was even a question. Have you lost weight? I'm like, have I lost weight? Have I lost weight? This is your question. There's a neighbor of ours. I saw her today. She didn't say a goddamn thing. And then I thought, and it happened somewhere else that Danny and I were, where it was like, until Danny acknowledged it, he goes, does anybody even notice this? And I said, do you think people didn't perceive me as fat?
Yes, I think that's what
and then he said, no, it's just that everybody only sees things in terms of themselves.
Well, there's that. There is that as well. I think there's definitely that, but I also think that you never present it as fat. And I think that's.
I mean, come on. What? I'm going to do a close up. Look at that.
No, but you didn't look like that. I don't care. You didn't. That's
Cooper says I look like a pedophile.
You do look like a pedophile, but you never look like that. That's ridiculous. All right, so let's talk about people. By the way, people are really appreciating.
Are they?
Everything that you're yes, there's a lot. There's Crystal and there's Tova, and there's a lot of people are really appreciating this conversation because we're struggling. We're so many of us are struggling, and COVID did not help our struggle at all. Because it was not only that we were home and we were eating more, but we weren't going and we weren't moving, we weren't doing anything, right? So let's talk before we talk about what happened to your voice. How back to real life, how back to regular life are you guys now?
Oh, we're back to regular life.
100%?
No, Danny's not, because before COVID, he traveled
3
or 4 days a week, all over the world.
Right.
And then during COVID, of course, he couldn't. And then his business changed to Zoom and increased because no longer were there flying times and hotel times and all this stuff. All of a sudden, working more hours, more clients, more things. And to the point that he lost his voice and had to go to my doctor and stuff because he was talking, 8 hours a day.
Wow.
And he was here all the time. And, it was COVID. And I'm like, why are you in my house like all the time? Why are you here? You're supposed to be traveling 3 to 4 days a week. So since you're not traveling, could you at least go to the garage for a couple of hours? You could want to walk. Get out of my house. So anyway, here's our life is back to normal. Now it's coming back. He's traveling more, but it'll never be like it was. I don't think the world will be like it was. People have shut down huge, they had 3 floors in an office building, a law firm, and now they have 6 offices because they discovered we need to get together once in a while to confab, but they're working at home. And I think a lot will be missing from that.
So is he still mostly working at home?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And he's traveling some. The only big difference I've seen, or let's say fallout, is I think these kids really suffered.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit because that's huge. Cooper spent at least a year plus doing school at home,
pretty much,
right?
Pretty much a year at home, a year and a half.
And
Um,
how did that affect his socialization with other kids? Or was he Zooming a lot? Was he?
Never.
No.
He had school,
Hmm.
and he was right in an age where he wasn't texting, wasn't doing anything.
Uh-huh.
He
Was he
was
playing a lot of video game? What was he
like
doing?
video games. We tried to entertain him. We tried to do things. Um, and school, was still, 6 hours a day. So that took up the lion's share of his time.
Right.
But what it affected was, yes, their socialization, sort of an arrested development, because when we started being together again, these kids didn't really know how to communicate.
That's what I was going to ask. How was it when they started to come back together
I
again?
would say, why don't you ask Anthony to come over? Well, I wouldn't know what to say. These are your friends that you've known before.
Yeah.
And they come to school with. Well, I wouldn't know what to say. Well, what are we going to do? And then academically,
Right.
you hear it over and over, and I've read many articles, particularly in mathematics and in reading. These kids were not just the year and a half they were behind. It was further back, because not only did they not retain what they had learned, they weren't really getting you can't learn reading on Zoom.
No.
And math is very hard.
Yes. Math is very hard if you're in the classroom with the
No shit. Okay, how about this for a fallout? I had 2 teeth cracked. I went to my dentist. They had to pull one and replace it with this, and this one's cracked, and the crown and the thing. And I'm like, what is happening? And he said, they have had this so much because people are living like this and grinding their teeth at night, and they're so tense.
Wow.
COVID, that he said, you cannot believe how many people are coming in. Also, because we didn't go to the doctor
or the dentist.
The dentist. And so these people are coming in with their teeth all messed up.
Wow.
And you hear like
I had to have a 3-hour cleaning. I hadn't gone to the dentist for I had to have a 3-hour cleaning
painful.
The first time I went back. They were pretty good. They're great. They have screens, and it was fine. They numb it was but yeah, because I hadn't gone all through for the first 2.5 years.
Right.
Yeah. So
so
no, it's Danny. So okay, so now it's been back to real life for a while. So is it as if it never happened, or for Cooper, or is there fallout from it? Is there still social fallout? Is there
it's getting a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a lot better, but I think that they lost some time.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of us did.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there was a group of women that my mother would get together with for lunch whatever it was, once every 2 weeks, once a month. And when it stopped because of COVID, it just never really quite reassembled. You know what I mean?
I still have somewhat social. I have to force myself to make lunch dates and go to parties. I still have to force myself. It still doesn't feel real.
I'm in that too. And I don't know if it's just COVID or also the way I always was, because I'm happy. I like my company, and I
do too. But I was doing I did a lot of social things right before the pandemic.
I think you're much more social than I am. I think you're more.
I didn't leave my house for 3 years. I don't know. I did.
No, but I
anyway.
mean, just in general, I feel like you are somebody who you're so gregarious, and you're so curious about life, and you are easy with people. I mean, this is easy for me because I know you and I like you and I feel safe with you, but I'm not good at a party. I just get, not you either.
I'm
I
not.
like a dinner party. I'd like a dinner party. Give me 5 or 6 people.
That's lovely. I like that too. But
So-
yeah.
Danny and I had this conversation the other night because he's so outgoing and he's so charming and he's so great with people. He's great with strangers. I have to kick him under the table at a restaurant because I don't really care where the server came from. I don't care right now. I just want to have my food and talk to you across the table. He's so good with people. And so that was really hard for him. But we were talking about, and we made a pact actually. We're making more plans. We're going to the theater. We're going to make dinner plans. We're going to go out to this. We're going to meet with these people, because we didn't for a long time. And then inevitably, if we did, I'm like, I don't want to do And 100% of the time, I'm glad I did. 100%.
I totally agree with. Okay, so that's what I want to ask you. So like, I still haven't been to the movies. That's the one thing I still haven't done. I haven't gone. We've been to the theater. We went to Europe.
Wow.
Have you been travel? Have you traveled?
Not a whole lot, but yes.
But you've been on planes. The last time we
God, yes.
talked, the last time we talked, you guys were going by car to like a ranch or something in Montana.
Oh yeah, to
or
Montana.
something.
We went to
Right.
Montana.
You went to Montana, but since that time, you've gotten on airplanes and you've.
Well, we've had family vacations. We've gone to Europe. We just got back from Hawaii. We went to 3 or 4 countries last year. We go to the East Coast. We go to the Cape. So.
And so how is that for you? How is like, I still wore a mask on the plane. We just went to Europe. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because there's this bizarre resurgence, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And I know these people who've come back from cruises and they all got sick again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't need to be with a
I'm
bunch
not
of
getting
people
on a cruise ship. I'm sorry. That's not happening.
I don't really want to be with a bunch of people on a ship where I can't get away.
Okay, so tell us. So what happened to you, Sam? Because I know that. So when did you get the COVID? Where did you get the COVID? Do you know?
Can I just say something because you're making me laugh? And this is very, very sort of New York Jewish. Where did you get the COVID? It's COVID, Vicki. Where did you get COVID?
COVID. It's the Facebook.
My
it's
father
the
would
COVID.
say, "Did you smoke the dope? Did you smoke? You know, are you getting on the Amazon?"
That's
so,
right.
Anyway. So yes, I had the COVID. I got it in May of what is this year? This is
2023. Yeah.
So I got it in 21.
Was that the Omicron or was that before Omicron? It was Omicron. And you had already been vaccinated or no?
I had been vaccinated.
Okay.
And then, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Did you know where you got it? Because at that time you probably weren't doing that much out in the world.
No, I don't even remember. I think I might have figured it out. And I also have a theory that I actually had it in the beginning before everybody knew what it was. Mm-hmm. Because I had pneumonia at the very end of 2019 that put me on my back for 3 weeks and I thought I was going to die.
Oh.
It was like I was this close to the hospital. And looking back, we thought, wonder if I was one of those people.
Had you traveled right before that?
Yes. And I did a show. Well, I was getting very, very sick, and that's what just kind of knocked me. I'm getting a weird shadow, isn't it? The sun's changing.
Yeah, and the sun is changing.
So anyway, I got it. I was fine.
You were fine?
I recovered fine. I had another vaccine.
Wait, tell me, you got it. Well, how did it manifest in you? Did you have the fever? Did you have fever?
Yeah, but it was nothing. It was like a bad flu. I didn't
have sick for like a week, 2 weeks.
I was positive for whatever it was, 10 or 12 days.
Okay.
And I was not really symptomatic after the first week. Mm-hmm. I was lucky that
And did Danny and Cooper get it?
They had it before me. Oh, that's where I got it.
Oh.
They got it. It was Danny, and then it was Cooper. And I thought, because I'm being Florence Nightingale with the chicken soup and, taking care of everybody. And then I thought, I didn't get it. I'm immune. And then I got it. So that's how I got it, from my family. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I got it. I recovered fine. And then I had this, wait a minute. I can't remember the calendar. But ultimately, I was recording this song. I was recording
sit back so the sun doesn't hit your face. Not that far back, just so that the sun isn't in your face. Yeah.
But I'm not there. Is that okay?
No. You're great.
Okay. I can't get the timeline right.
Right.
But it hit me I was doing a video. And when you sing, even though it's pre-recorded, you're singing to track, you still sing live with it, so everything looks like it's working right?
Right.
No, that's not how you lip sync. You
Right.
actually do it. So I did this song, the same freaking song, over for like hours and hours and hours. And um, something felt really wrong and weird after that. Then I got another vaccination. I don't know what I'm saying because I can't remember the timeline. Ultimately, all that matters is, oh shit, Vicki, this is so boring.
No, it's not boring. It's
I'm
we're
remembering.
the COVID crazies.
I know what
That's
happened. Oh, this is the wrong.
Okay,
This
go
is the
ahead.
wrong schedule. Hadn't had COVID yet.
Oh.
I know I hadn't had COVID yet. I oversang and I hemorrhaged a vocal cord. That's what it was. That was 2020,
Okay.
I think. Anyway, yes, I hemorrhaged a vocal cord. I went on 6 weeks vocal rest. Started to build back. It hemorrhaged again.
Oh.
More vocal rest. It kept hemorrhaging from like a cough or a sneeze or any small thing. The greatest doctor in the world. I started studying again with my goddess of a voice teacher in New York, Joan Lader. I was getting back in shape. It hemorrhaged again. I had surgery. I had vocal surgery. I couldn't wait to have that surgery because I had been at this point like months of not speaking. I didn't speak at one point for 6 months.
Oh my Lord.
Horrifying.
I seem to recall this. Okay,
It's
yeah.
because I didn't speak before the surgery and then I couldn't speak after the surgery. But I was so happy to have it. I'm like, let's stop messing with this hemorrhaging because I'm living in fear. And, so I had.
What kind of surgery stops you from hemorrhaging?
A laser goes in and cauterizes the
I
vein.
see. Mm-hmm.
So I was healing. I had the surgery in October. I started healing. I was vocalizing. I had a couple of gigs. I sang in March or April in New York. Felt great, singing my ass off, talking about the vocal drama I'd just been through. And then I got COVID, and then something happened where my voice, and this happened over a period of days.
Oh, quick.
I couldn't find a pitch. I couldn't hold a tone. I couldn't find a tone. It sounded like not a voice, like this crazy sound. Scariest thing I've ever experienced. I went to my doctor and he said, it's like your vocal cords are paralyzed. And he said, Sam, this is a condition I'm seeing that's a COVID-related vocal dysphonia.
And this had nothing to do with your surgery and what happened before? Wow.
And here's the crazy part. It did not affect my regular speaking range. So I could be talking to you like this. And then if I tried to sing a note, oh! And he said a lot of people have this and they don't know it because they don't sing or talk outside of their vocal range, their speaking vocal range.
Wow.
Right? So
when did this start, Sam? How long ago?
This is 2021. Right?
Oh, long time ago. Uh-huh.
This whole thing started with that and the surgery and then the vocal thing. So I had to cancel my work. And then I started vocalizing to get it back. And then I started studying again, 2 voice lessons a week, 6 days a week of vocal exercises, the most boring thing in the world. Mm. And it was terrible because I would go 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back and then 1 step forward and like that. And it frustrated me because there was no consistency to my progress. Mm. And vocal exercises, like anything over and over, is so boring. It's one thing to vocalize to warm up. That's just what you do. It's like warming up your legs if you're a dancer. But to do this for long periods of time was agonizing.
Oh,
and
gosh.
No.
You're seeing the sun.
It looks like I have like a light.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine. It was really painful. And then so I had my agent say, let's rebook these dates. I'm going to be fine in 6 months. Rebooked it. Rebooked things. And 4 months in, I'm like, I'm not going to be, the clock was ticking. I
Oh
was a
my.
mess, an emotional mess, mentally fried, which was not helping my voice. It was scaring me because I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And so I had to call and say, we're canceling again. A
Oh
lot
my
of the same
gosh.
venues. And so, and I haven't sung in public since. And
Wait a wait a
here's
minute.
what I
This was 2 years ago.
no. This went from 2021 all the
Yeah.
way into 2023.
2 years.
Yeah, that's how long this has been going on. Yes.
Wow. But now you can sing.
Can't sing like Sam Harris yet.
But you can sing.
I can sing.
It's something you said you would do for us before you go, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I'll sing something. But
So,
it's been very slow. And what I did also was I took a mental break. I stopped the voice lessons. I stopped the exercises.
oh,
I stopped the stress. I stopped doing it. I am not singing because every time I did, it would freak me out because it never hurt, Vicki. It never hurt. It
oh.
just didn't come out. And my greatest blessing has been when I hear a note in my head, I can sing it. Whatever I hear in my head, I can sing it. I can produce it. I can sing that note, that lick, that range. That's my God-given thing. I heard something in my head and it wouldn't come out of my mouth unexpectedly. So of course I couldn't sing in public because I didn't know what was going to happen. Even if I was feeling great, it would just come out. Terrifying. So no, I have not sung in public, and I took a mental break, and I haven't sung except just for myself or a couple of people at the piano. I haven't gotten together with Todd. I just needed to stop. And I said I was going to start again, like now, at this time, the beginning of July. And so I'm just humming a bit and doing whatever, and I'll get back. But I had
You will.
very emotional. I was also like, what does it mean to me? And is it worth it? Do I want to sing?
So who are you, Sam, when you're not singing? What was life? What has life been for you? Because singing has been such a huge part of who you are.
I'm trying to find this because I know it's really weird. Actually, I'm going to go to another room.
Okay.
Yes, it's been a lot.
Go to the piano.
Okay. Yes, it's been who I am,
Mhm.
but I'm a writer.
Yes, you are.
I'm an actor.
Mhm.
I am a storyteller in ways, and that doesn't change. I'm a storyteller through singing, but I'm also a storyteller in lots of ways. and I write, and I love my writing.
I was going to say,
and I will sing.
have you been writing?
Well, I'm working on the book, Substance of All Things, not Ham. Which is like my greatest probably thing I'm most proud of in my life of all the different things I've created. It's in development for other media, so that's taking my time and my creativity, and I get great joy from that. Nothing would ever be the same as singing but I can't sing in fear. Can't sing in fear.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I talked to my agent. He's so gracious and so wonderful and said, health is everything. Health and happiness are everything. Mm. And that is first, because I'm always afraid I'm going to disappoint everyone all the time. I mean, talk about stage fright. If I already had it, imagine. So he said, your health is everything. And I said, this time we're not going to book and say, I think I'm going to be great in 3 months. Let's book that. Let's book in 6 months. I said, we're not going to book until I'm 100% and I have sat there for a minute.
I love that. I love that you're taking that pressure off yourself.
I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I can't cancel these places again. Mm-hmm. And I can't do that to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like, Vicki, it's not like Oh, I call him on Tuesday and say, okay, I feel great, I'm doing it. And he says, great, on Friday, you fly to New York. No, everything books out 6 months or a year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've got other things that you do, the writing, the turning. You had a TV show that you had sold. You had a half-hour television show that you had sold the last time we met.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know the way those things. Yeah, okay.
That was a COVID byproduct as well.
Yes.
It got
If I had a nickel
right.
for every one of those.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So, but this I'm excited about. I'm excited about the substance of it. Yeah. So this is great. All right. So it sounds like you're
One more comment. Of course, who I was afraid I would disappoint the most. Yes, the buyers. Yes, the promoters. Yes, my agent. Yes, whatever. But I have been so lucky to have, and I've never liked the word fan, but I call myself one for other people, a fan base that is so loyal and so giving. And I was afraid that they were going to be so disappointed or turn on me, or, I had to return my tickets and and it hasn't been that at all. It has been the most loving, embracing, open arms about real concern for me as a human being.
Absolutely.
Beyond what I do. Because that's the truth. That's the lesson in all this too. Singing is not who I am, it's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And once we think it's who I am, then who are we without it? Because it all changes and it all ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I do. And I do many things. And I'm a damn good dad and a damn good husband and a really good friend. And I have many friends who are way bigger celebrities and stars than I am, big. And some of them have been able to manage those things. And some of them have chosen that over finding that relationship or having children or finding other things that bring them joy. So there's so much pressure on the approval of that and the need for that all the time, because that's what's been invested. And that's great for some people. But when I'm talking about people who, like, I have a couple of friends who are much older, who are really big stars. And they were like, I've got, an Oscar and 3 Tonys on the shelf, but I don't really have any depth. There's no depth. And so I made some choices when I chose to invest in my relationship with my husband, and also choosing to have a child. And people would say,
we were going to talk about that.
Parents go on set for 6 months. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean they're good parents. And some people make it work and do it beautifully. There's a girl who's currently, she's in Into the Woods, Stephanie Block, a brilliant, brilliant Broadway actor. And she's wonderful. We just saw it. And she has 2 kids. Her husband is playing the baker. She's playing the baker's wife. And she has, is it 1 kid or 2? The kid is on the road with them. And their family is traveling on the road with the show. I don't know how long she's booked for.
How old is it? It must be a little kid.
Yeah, but not he's in school. So it's homeschooling. They're doing all this stuff. But she's like, we want to make a living. I need to do this. This is my heart. This is my talent. Her husband is brilliant.
How do they do the school thing for the kid?
I think they homeschool and tutor. And this show is so big that it sets down in places. They're not moving every week or 2.
Right. So,
but they made a difficult family choice, and it's really working. And there they were. They had to decide this. We can do this together as a family. Great parts. They're both brilliant. And we have this one little complication, a child. And so what they've done is make it work for them. Because guess what? When you look forward, that child is going to remember being with their parents in this bizarre world where they're in hotels or rentals or whatever, but they were together.
Absolutely.
And if they left for 6 months or a year and left with, his uncle in Chicago.
Absolutely. It's interesting. So I was going to ask you if you miss the applause and if you miss being on stage and having that, but you seem very comfortable in your skin these days, maybe more so than I've ever seen you before.
Wow. Thank
You
you.
do. You seem really content and you seem in acceptance, and it suits you.
Thank you. I mean, I'm like any other hammy actor. I love applause. Um, but I love applause because of the relationship that happens
Mhm.
in live performing.
Mhm.
I give everything I have when I'm on stage. I leave it there. It's all there. I've never ever phoned in a single performance. I've had some.
You left it all on my living room floor for 50 women.
That doesn't mean I'm good. That doesn't mean I don't have really bad shows. That doesn't mean I'm,
Oh,
but you know what I mean. I mean, everything's not what you want it to be. I've never had a perfect show. And so, but it's everything to me. And so when I do that and I get applause, they're thanking me, me thanking them. It's like this really beautiful thing that makes me feel good. But you are right. I don't need it. Certainly not in the same way. Vicki, when I was young, when I was a teenager, I would drive, this is true, I would drive around grocery store parking lots with my windows down and sing. People would hear me. I didn't want to meet somebody until they heard me sing, because then they would love me. So what does that mean if they haven't heard me sing? Probably not gonna like Sam.
You
So
know, Crystal says something very interesting here. She says that's what losing weight does. It changes your insides. You know, I think that might be part of this place
could
that
be.
you're in too, is that you're feeling so good about yourself because
Yes.
you've done this
That's right.
major.
Crystal, that is absolutely true.
She
Because
did it. She lost a substantial
Really,
amount of weight. Yeah.
it does. It does. It's that thing, we talked about where as you grow older, it's like you look in the mirror and you're, who is that? What? That's not what I see myself as. And right now, it's pretty damn close. And it sounds so surfacey, but it does affect how we feel.
Screw that. You know,
Why
for
people
like
dress up?
5 days in 1989, I had a perfect fucking body. It was, oh my God, it was really something. So, yeah.
And you're still chasing it, baby.
I'm
Stop.
still
You
chasing
are
it.
beautiful, beautiful. And I don't know what you're talking about, because at least from this view, from the tits up, you look thin and chiseled and fabulous.
Well, thank you. But there's a whole bunch of shit going on below the screen. All right. So Sam, I literally could talk to you all night.
I know, we always do this.
Nobody's been bored by any of it. Everybody has loved this, and gotten a lot out of it, because we're
Good.
all
Human.
doing this. We're all
Yeah.
human. We're all doing this. And it's yeah. But okay. So before you go, you have to sing for us.
Okay, I'll sing this song. And it's just, I've known it forever, and I'm a big Donny Hathaway fan. And this is a version, I mean, he sang this song, he didn't write it. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful message. And I'm not a piano player, but it's just a beautiful, simple song with the greatest lyric ever. And I can't see without my glasses, but I'm not going to get them, because that means I'd have to go to the other room.
But then we could see your body as you walk through the room.
You haven't seen all these.
I was looking. Wow, you've done a lot since I saw you last.
Okay. For all we know, we may never meet again. Before you go, this moment sweet again. We won't say goodnight until the last minute. I'll hold out my hand, and my heart will be in it. For all we know, this may only be a dream. We come and we go like the ripples on a stream. So love me tonight. Tomorrow was made for some. Tomorrow may never come, for all we know.
I have goosebumps from head to toe. That might be one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard you sing.
Thank
That
you.
was absolutely gorgeous, Sam. You might have lost some of your ability to do it there, but not who you are and not the Kishkas where it comes from. And you're getting so much love. Is just that you're getting hearts.
Well, thank
Just
you to all you who are giving hearts, because you know, I do love to sing, and I will get my thing back. But you know, the thing about all of us is, I'm not supposed to sing in the keys I sang in when I was in my 20s and 30s.
No, you're not. And you're not
It's not
supposed to
normal.
fit in the pants you were in your
You're not-
20s either.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not, that what I give and what we all give isn't richer and on a deeper level. Because, you know, I could do vocal acrobatics, and yes, I was honest. I was always an honest performer. But God, we all have so much more to give and to say and to listen to and to embrace and to relate to and to be a part of the human condition. And the older we get and the more we experience, especially the shit, the more we have to give. And that, my friend, on this note, and it's what I tell my son, we are on the earth for one reason: to be of service. That's why we're here, to leave it better than we found it, to take somebody in, to help them. And I get to do it in my work. I get to do it by being of service, by maybe letting somebody think something or feel something or having an experience that they might not have. So I'm lucky to do that. But that's why we're here. And that never goes away, no matter what we lose, or if our hair falls out, or if we gain weight. It doesn't matter. It just gets better.
Well, you've made our day, you've made my day better. And I'm
You
so
too,
happy to have seen you again. And you look marvelous. And
Thank you.
I've loved every second, Sam. I
I
adore
love you.
you.
I love talking to you, and we'll do it again soon, I hope. And to you guys who are watching, I love you and appreciate you. Thank you.
See you